Secrets You Should Never Share, Part 1. In an old town, there once lived a quiet blacksmith. His workshop was modest, his income small but steady, just enough for tea and a meal. He didn't need much, and he was content. Beside him sat an old purple teapot, used daily for decades. One day, an antiques dealer passed by, noticed the pot, and offered 100,000 yuan for it. The blacksmith was surprised and refused. The pot was a family heirloom passed down from his grandfather. That night, he couldn't sleep. The pot he once thought worthless suddenly had value, and that value invited anxiety. He started waking at night to check if it was still there. The calm of his life had vanished. When villagers learned about the teapot, they came asking questions. Some tried to borrow money. His children began discussing inheritance. The pot had turned into a curse. The dealer returned, this time offering 200,000 yuan. The blacksmith gathered the villagers, lifted a hammer, and smashed the pot to pieces. What no one knew was that the real teapot had already been sold quietly. The one he destroyed was a fake. He secured his future in silence and lived to the age of 100. The lesson is simple. Once people know you have money, they start looking at you differently. Friends may turn into debtors, family may turn into negotiators, strangers may turn into threats. Money doesn't corrupt, it reveals. So let them wonder. Peace is worth more than pride. Secrets You Should Never Share. Part 2. Your love life and past relationships. There was a man who could never stop thinking about a woman from his past. No matter how much time passed, he couldn't let her go. He asked everyone he met, "How do I forget someone I once loved?" Eventually, he heard about a monk living on a mountain who was known to help people let go of emotional burdens. The man climbed the mountain and poured his heart out to the monk, explaining everything, every detail. The monk sat silently, eyes closed, listening. When the man finished, the monk called for his young apprentice to bring a special potion. He handed it to the man and said, "Drink this. It will help you forget her." The man stared at the bottle, hesitant. "Will it really make me forget her?" he asked. The monk shook his head. "No potion can erase the past. What's remembered through obsession must be forgotten through detachment." He turned to his apprentice again. "You copy scriptures every day, don't you?" "Yes, master. And how did you memorize them?" "I read them often, think about them often. Eventually they stuck in my mind." "And if I told you to forget them?" The boy paused. "Then I would stop reading, stop thinking about them. Maybe over time they'd fade." The monk looked back at the man. "You ask everyone how to forget, yet you talk about her to everyone you meet. You aren't trying to forget her. You're trying to keep her alive inside your story. What you talk about, you feed, and what you feed grows. Talking endlessly about lost love keeps it breathing. Sometimes you're not missing the person. You're missing who you were when you were with them. Love isn't meant to be a one-sided struggle. It's a connection, not a chain. If the bond no longer exists, holding on will only hold you back. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means freeing both of you from a story that's already over. Secrets You Should Never Share, Part 3. Your Weaknesses and Personal Vulnerabilities. One day, a crow looked at a porcupine and said, "Your armor is incredible. I wish I had that kind of protection." The porcupine smiled, flattered, and leaned in to share a secret. "I'll tell you something, but keep it between us. My armor isn't perfect. When I curl up, there's a small gap on my belly. If someone blows air right there, I get so ticklish that I can't stay clothed." The crow nodded solemnly. "Your secret's safe with me." But not long after, the crow was caught by a fox. In exchange for its life, the crow revealed the porcupine's weak spot. The fox found the porcupine, used the trick, and devoured it. This is how trust dies. Never hand people the weapons they could one day use against you. Sometimes we overshare, hoping to deepen friendships, seeking comfort, or trying to show honesty. But when conflict arises, those same people might weaponize our truths. A colleague today can be a competitor tomorrow. A friend today might resent you tomorrow. Even in professional life, it happens all the time. You mention your insecurities, your struggles, and someone files that information away. Not for sympathy, but for strategy. And here's the worst part. We often give away our power willingly just to feel understood. Do not confuse transparency with wisdom. Honesty is a strength, but not everyone deserves full access to you. And remember this, those who know you best can hurt you the most because they know exactly where to aim. Secrets you should never share, Part 4. Your past mistakes and regrets. There was once a young scholar who traveled to the capital to take the imperial exam, but he was sabotaged by someone envious of his talent and failed miserably. Heartbroken, he returned home. His childhood sweetheart, seeing his downfall, left him. Every day afterward, the scholar drowned in wine, punishing himself, trapped in memories of what he had lost. One day, he met a wise monk. He asked for a way to be freed from the pain. The monk said nothing, only told the young man to follow him. For 3 days, the monk fed him nothing but water, made him chop wood, feed the horse, and sleep in a cold stable. On the 3rd day, the scholar burst into tears and asked, "Why are you making me suffer like this?" The monk looked at him calmly and said, "What you're feeling now, that's exactly what you've been doing to yourself for years. You've been punishing yourself for the actions of others. The past has teeth, but only if you keep feeding it. Talking about your past mistakes over and over doesn't heal anything. It reopens the wound every time. Most people don't care. Some will pretend to care, and a few will enjoy watching you bleed. Even worse, when you keep revisiting your own failures, you start to identify with them. You no longer see yourself as someone who failed. You become the failure itself. Everyone has a history, but it's not your biography, it's your background. Stop offering your regrets to people who can't carry them with grace, and don't decorate your future with the ashes of your past. Secrets you should never share. Part 5. Your complaints about life or fate. There once were 2 brothers born into the same home, raised by the same troubled parents, a father who drank, a mother who gambled. One brother grew up to be successful, driven, and respected. The other ended up in prison. When asked why he turned out the way he did, the successful brother said, "With parents like mine, I had no choice but to work harder. Who else was going to fix this life for me?" When asked the same question, the one in prison answered, "With parents like mine, how could I have turned out any different? Same upbringing, same hardships, different stories, different results." Blaming fate is easy. It takes nothing but words. Responsibility, on the other hand, takes effort and courage. Those who constantly complain about their circumstances slowly become trapped by them. The more you talk about how life has been unfair, the more you believe that it owes you something. It doesn't. Life is neutral. It doesn't favor the brave, nor does it punish the timid. But your decisions shape your story, not your complaints. Abraham Lincoln once lost an election, lost his business, and spent 17 years paying off debt. He never blamed fate. He just kept going. And one day, he became president of the United States. So don't complain about the darkness. Light a candle. Even if it's small, it's still light. Secrets you should never share, Part 6. Unlucky words and self-curses. There was a woman who was pregnant, and instead of feeling joy, she often complained, "What a burden this will be. I don't know how I'll handle 2 babies." She'd joke, "Want one? I'll give you one for free." When the day came, only 1 child survived. Another man often said, "I've never been in an ambulance. I kind of want to try it." That night, he suffered carbon monoxide poisoning and was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. A classmate once joked, "Why doesn't anyone donate money to me like they did for that kid whose mom got electrocuted in the rice field?" A week later, his own mother was electrocuted under similar circumstances. Words carry power. When you repeatedly say unlucky or negative things, even as jokes, you're planting seeds in your subconscious and in the universe. Over time, those seeds may grow into your reality. Speak of illness and you begin to feel weak. Speak of loss and your heart prepares for it. Speak of misfortune and your life begins to expect it. Think of your words like the roots of a tree. If those roots are diseased, the whole tree suffers. So be careful. Even when you're angry, resist the urge to curse yourself or others, because what you send out might just come back. Your voice isn't just for expression, it's an architect of your destiny. Guard it well. Secrets you should never share, Part 7. Your joys and successes too publicly. There once was a wealthy man who had just purchased a lavish villa. He used to be boastful, but after years of painful lessons, he had learned to keep quiet. 3 years prior, during a village banquet, he got drunk and bragged about making over $20 million that year. Not long after, someone poisoned the fish in his pond. Why? Because nothing provokes hatred faster than seeing someone you once pitied now living better than you. The cruel truth is this: many people aren't bothered by your failure. They're bothered by your progress, especially if they once considered themselves above you. When you publicly celebrate your wins, you invite two kinds of attention: admiration and envy. One lifts you, the other quietly plots your fall. There's a saying, what's exposed spoils, what's kept cool stays fresh. Keep your victories in the shade. Not everyone clapping is cheering for you. Some are just keeping rhythm until they can strike. True strength doesn't need to announce itself, and real success rarely needs validation. So celebrate quietly, and remember, if you share your joy with the wrong audience, it becomes bragging. But if you guard it with humility, it becomes peace. Secrets you should never share, Part 8. Your family's private matters. A woman once started a new job. She was graceful, soft-spoken, and seemed trustworthy. After only a few weeks, she confided in a coworker about her personal life, how she'd gone through a divorce and was now living with a man 15 years older. She thought it was safe, that this coworker was a friend. But the news didn't stay private. Soon, whispers spread through the office. People began making harsh comments behind her back. Even her manager started to question her professionalism. Within months, she resigned, without ever understanding how the damage had started. Not everyone who listens cares, and not everyone who asks wants to help. Some just want fuel for gossip, others want leverage, and once your family's issues become public, they're no longer yours to manage. Every family has flaws. Even the happiest homes have cracks. But those cracks should be sealed with communication, not exposed to strangers. Because once you open the door, people walk through it with muddy shoes, and sometimes they never leave. A peaceful home isn't built by perfect people. It's built by people who protect it. So if there are problems at home, don't run to outsiders. Sit down, talk, listen, heal, together. Keep sacred what should stay sacred, because a home's strength begins with silence and ends with trust. Conclusion. Guarding your inner world. There's a reason the wisest people often speak the least. It's not because they have nothing to say, it's because they know not everything should be said. We live in a world obsessed with sharing our wins, our losses, our struggles, our joys, but the more you expose, the more you risk. Privacy is no longer a preference, it's a form of self-defense. Let these 8 reminders anchor you. 1. Keep your money matters to yourself. Wealth attracts attention, not always the good kind. 2. Keep your romantic life quiet. Love is fragile when handled by too many hands. 3. Protect your weaknesses. They're not flaws unless they become someone else's tools. 4. Let go of your past silently. Your pain isn't public property. 5. Don't complain about your fate. Your story isn't written by excuses. 6. Avoid speaking misfortune into existence. Words are spells. Use them wisely. 7. Celebrate success in silence. Not everyone smiling is your ally. 8. Keep your family's struggles sacred. What's private should stay protected. Speak less, observe more, protect your peace. Because the one who knows when to stay silent often holds the loudest kind of power.